In the heart of the Welsh hills, for friends stepped out of a hotel, the crisp morning air a stark contrast to the fuzzy memories of the night before. They were a band of brothers, forged on the first day of school, now on the brink of new chapters in their lives. Dan the Manlows, the oldest and the group's joker, was a walking contradiction. Born into wealth, always with a thick wad of cash in his pocket, yet down to earth. He was tall, dark-haired, and possessed a charm that made up for what he occasionally lacked in common sense. At 25, he still carried the playful spirit of a much younger man. Then there was Luke the Nutter Harrison, just 2 days Don's junior. Luke was the life of every party, his uniform a tracksuit and trainers, ready for anything. He worked hard on building sites, his powerful physique a testament to his labor. He saved every penny not for a house or a car, but so he could party harder and longer. His energy was infectious. Mike the Tyke Lovejoy was the quiet soul of the group. Standing at 5'2", he was often underestimated, a fact that amused him. A hopeless romantic at heart, he rarely spoke unless he had something profound to say. But in the ring, he was a giant, a 4-time world champion boxer. He and Dan shared a silent, unbreakable bond, an understanding that needed no words. And finally, Lee the Peacock, the youngest. He was the butt of many jokes, but always in a loving way. A rising star in the world of wrestling, he had just signed a major contract. This trip was meant to be his farewell, a final adventure before his career took over. He was especially going to miss Luke, the one who always pushed the boundaries of fun. As they left the hotel, Dan and Mike checked on Luke, who was still recovering from the previous night's celebrations. But before they could even get a proper sentence out, Lee, buzzing with excitement, shot off up a footpath leading into the rolling hills. "Last one to the top's a rotten egg," he yelled back. Laughing, the other 3 gave chase, their spirits soaring as high as the Welsh peaks. For 5 glorious hours, they were kings of the wilderness. They hiked, they shared stories, they ate the snacks they'd packed, and they drank in the breathtaking views. The world felt simple again, just like when they were kids. It was a perfect day, a perfect memory in the making. But as the afternoon sun began to dip, casting long shadows across the valleys, a sense of unease settled in. It was Lee who voiced what they were all starting to think. Guys," he asked, his voice a little smaller now, "where are we?" Silence. They looked at each other, then at the endless sea of green and gray surrounding them. The paths they had followed so carelessly had vanished. The familiar landmarks were gone. They were lost. The first day turned into a cold night. They huddled together for warmth, the jokes and laughter replaced by nervous whispers. The second day was a long, grueling trek. Hope began to fade. Their friendship, once a source of strength, was now being tested by hunger, fear, and exhaustion. Mike, the silent warrior, kept his fears hidden, while Luke's usual boisterous energy had dimmed to a flicker. Lee, the youngest, looked to the others for reassurance they couldn't give. It was Dan, surprisingly, who became their beacon. Digging deep, he used a strange mix of intuition and sheer luck. He remembered snippets of old maps, tales from locals, and followed the faintest signs of civilization. Just as despair was about to claim them, he saw it. Through a thicket of trees, a faint, warm light glowed. An old pub nestled in a forgotten valley. With their last reserves of strength, they stumbled towards it. The wooden sign creaked in the wind, its name faded by time. The door swung open with a groan, revealing a cozy, fire-lit room. As they stepped across the threshold, a wave of exhaustion so profound washed over them that they collapsed where they stood. And then they woke up, but they weren't in the pub. They weren't even together. Dan found himself in his plush king-sized bed in his London penthouse. The city's hum a familiar lullaby. Luke was in his small apartment in Manchester, the smell of rain on pavement drifting through his open window. Mike was in a hotel room in Las Vegas, the neon glow of the strip painting patterns on his ceiling, just hours away from his next title defense. And Lee was in a training facility in Florida, the early morning humidity already thick in the air. Each man sat bolt upright, his heart pounding. The dream, it had been so vivid, so real. The chill of the Welsh air, the ache in their legs, the fear in their hearts. They could still taste it. Instinctively, they all reached for their phones. For separate video calls connected simultaneously, their faces appearing on each other's screens, for corners of the world linked in an instant. They stared at each other, wide-eyed. No one needed to speak first. They saw the same shock, the same confusion, the same lingering memory reflected in each other's eyes. They had all shared the exact same dream, the lost trail, the desperate search, the relief of finding the pub. How was it possible? A dream so detailed, shared across thousands of miles. It was a mystery they couldn't solve, a strange and wonderful thread that bound them together, no matter how far apart life took them. It was a reminder that even as their paths diverged to wealth, to hard labor, to championship glory, to wrestling stardom, their bond was something deeper, something that transcended distance and even consciousness. In that shared dream, they were boys again, lost and found together. And in that moment of shared wonder, they knew they would never truly be apart. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed our story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.